The Demiurge revealed, secrets and acronies. The Demiurge is a central figure in several philosophical and religious traditions. He represents the architect of the universe, responsible for giving form and structure to the material world. His role and nature vary between different belief systems. In Gnostic philosophy, the Demiurge is seen as an inferior being to the supreme God, often associated with the flawed creation of the material world. He is perceived as ignorant or even malicious, in contrast to the true God. The term Demiurge comes from the Greek word demiurgos, meaning artisan or public worker. Originally, it was used to describe artisans and workers in general, but Plato adopted it to refer to the creator of the cosmos. Different cultures have interpreted the Demiurge in unique ways. In Platonic philosophy, he is a benevolent force that organizes chaos. In Gnosticism, he represents an imperfect or malignant figure responsible for the creation of the physical world. The Demiurge plays a crucial role in the creation of the world. According to various traditions, he is the one who organizes pre-existing matter, giving it order and form. However, his creation is often seen as imperfect or limited. The difference between the Demiurge and the supreme God lies in their nature and function. In Gnostic philosophy, the Demiurge is an imperfect creator of the material world, while the supreme God is a transcendental and perfect entity. The term Demiurge comes from ancient Greek and means craftsman or worker. This term was adopted by philosophers to describe a creative entity that organizes the physical world out of primordial chaos. In different cultures, the concept of the Demiurge varies, but he is generally credited with the role of creator of the universe. Some traditions see him as a benevolent divine being, while others consider him to be an imperfect or even evil being. The role of the Demiurge in the creation of the world is crucial, as it is he who molds matter and shapes the cosmos. However, his creation is seen as imperfect, reflecting his own limited nature in comparison to the supreme God. The Acronies are minor entities that assist the Demiurge in his task of creating and maintaining the material world. In Gnostic mythology, they are considered intermediaries who exercise cosmic authority, influencing the life and destiny of human beings. The Acronies are considered cosmic authorities that exert influence on the material world. In Gnostic mythology, these beings have the function of controlling and maintaining order in the universe created by the Demiurge. The Demiurge is seen as the creator of the world, but his work is imperfect. This imperfection is reflected in the nature of the material world, full of suffering and limitations, which contrasts with the perfection of the spiritual realm. Although the Demiurge created the world, his creation is considered flawed. This contrast highlights the Gnostic view that material reality is a prison for the soul, which yearns to return to the spiritual world. The Demiurge also plays a crucial role in the creation of the soul. However, according to Gnosis, the soul is trapped in the material world and needs to free itself from the bonds imposed by the Demiurge and the Acronies. The Acronies act as intermediaries between the Demiurge and human beings, influencing their lives and decisions. These beings are seen as spiritual obstacles that hinder the path to enlightenment and liberation of the soul. The Acronies are intermediary entities that act between the Demiurge and humanity. In Gnostic mythology, they are considered cosmic authorities that influence human destiny and maintain the order of the material universe. The influence of the Acronies on human life is significant. Their role is to control and guide souls trapped in the material world, often preventing their ascent towards knowledge and spiritual enlightenment. In Platonic philosophy, the Demiurge is a benevolent being who creates the world according to eternal ideas. Unlike the Gnostic view, here the Demiurge is seen as a divine and positive craftsman. Comparing the Gnostic and Platonic Demiurge reveals key differences. While the Platonic Demiurge is a benevolent creator, the Gnostic one is perceived as flawed and often evil, responsible for the creation of the flawed material world. The duality of good and evil in the Demiurge reflects a constant struggle. In Gnosis, the material world is marked by imperfections and suffering, in contrast to the perfection of the spiritual world, free from demiurgic influence. Modern interpretations of the Demiurge vary widely, from philosophical to esoteric approaches. Some see him as a metaphor for the creative human mind, while others relate him to hidden forces that influence our reality. The Demiurge has been depicted in contemporary art as an ambiguous entity, sometimes benevolent, sometimes malignant. Visual artists and filmmakers explore his duality, reflecting the complexity of his nature and his impact on creation. In literature, the Demiurge appears as a character who symbolizes the conflict between good and evil. Science fiction and fantasy authors use him to explore themes of power, morality, and existence, enriching their narratives. Criticism of the figure of the Demiurge focuses on his role as an imperfect creator. Philosophers and theologians debate his responsibility for human suffering, questioning whether his existence justifies the imperfection of the material world and its challenges. In contemporary esotericism, the Demiurge is studied as a force that must be transcended. Spiritual practices seek to free oneself from his influence, promoting a direct connection with the higher self and the supreme divinity, beyond the material world. The relationship between the Demiurge and the higher self is complex, since the former represents the imperfect creation of the material world, while the higher self seeks connection with the divine and the true essence of the human being. The Demiurge in the context of Gnostic redemption acts as an obstacle that the soul must overcome. Breaking free from his influence involves awakening to a higher reality and recognizing the divine spark within oneself. Freeing oneself from the influence of the Demiurge and the Achists requires a process of self-knowledge and spirituality. It is essential to question material reality, seek inner truth, and connect with the higher self to transcend one's limitations. Reflecting on the meaning of the Demiurge today invites us to examine our own beliefs and the nature of the world we live in. It challenges us to seek a more authentic existence, aligned with our true essence and purpose. Researching more about the Demiurge and expanding your understanding can open doors to new philosophical and spiritual perspectives. This knowledge will allow you to question reality and find paths to greater spiritual understanding and connection.